You're trying to manifest things in your 3D physical reality, right? You want to manifest more love, to feel it in your presence, more money, more travel, whatever it is. But the truth is that you actually experience your entire 3D physical reality through your brain. So you manifest everything through your brain, right? The way your brain is wired highly matters, because this is how your perceptions are even shaped, right? A lot of times when we talk about mindset, which we talk a lot about on this channel, about managing your mindset or getting into that manifestation mindset, it's really understanding that you have your physical brain, right? The way it's wired, the neurons, the pathways that are created, and you have your consciousness, which no amount of science has yet been able to determine where your consciousness comes from. I personally believe it's our soul speaking to us, it's our past life remembrance, all of these things, right? But that's the thing. So your mind is composed of your brain and your consciousness. You can have the most illuminating conscious thoughts, remembrance of what you deserve, when you feel that pull to manifest something. At the same time, if you don't work with your physical brain, it becomes that much harder to either manifest it, or you manifest what you want and you're not able to hold it because it feels so unfamiliar. So in this video, I want to break down 5 facts about the brain in a way that's simple to digest, because I'm not a neuroscientist. My coach is, she's actually a neuroscientist, like a legit neuroscientist. And I've read so many books about neuroscience. And the thing is that we don't need to be a neuroscientist to understand these things. And in fact, I personally believe we should be taught these things, because literally when you understand how this human, this physical vessel is functioning, you get to really enter that world of the mystical and magical even more. So if you like that kind of stuff, if you like the science married with the world of the mystical and the magical world, then you have come to the right place. And if we don't know each other, my name is Atena, and on this channel we learn to love ourselves unconditionally and we manifest our dream realities. So if those are things you're interested in, you should consider subscribing. And your girl is pregnant, so there will be content also about motherhood. I won't be talking about all aspects of motherhood, but there are certain things that I definitely want to talk about, especially about when it comes to how we're programmed, how we program our children. Like, those are things that have always fascinated me. Anyways, I digress. Back to the video. Oh, last thing, if you want to join a super high vibe community, our It's Possible community is all about mindset, manifestation, and really suspending our disbeliefs and really allowing our mind to go to places, rewiring our brain especially, to remember that what we want is possible. So the link for that will be below. So fact number 1, my notes are so ghetto or artistic, however you want to put it. Fact number 1, your brain is an association machine. So you want to think of even Pavlov's dog's theory. Everyone has heard of this, and if you haven't heard of it, in a nutshell, basically Pavlov is a scientist who basically trained his dog that every time he rings the bell, it means that the dog is going to eat. And then it got to this point where all that Pavlov needed to do is ring the bell and the dog would salivate. Why? Because the dog has associated the ringing of the bell with food, with something good. So think of something delicious that you like in your life. So perhaps think of having an ice cream, like maybe you really enjoy that. Or even there's something that we learn when we are getting trained for hypnosis. So I'm a hypnotherapist. And that is that if you really like close your eyes, and we can just do it all together, close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself going to your kitchen. And as you're going to your kitchen, you're going to go to the fridge and you're going to get a lemon. And as you get this lemon, you're going to take the lemon and take out your cutting board. You're going to cut the lemon in half. And I want you to bring one half right to your nose. Let yourself take a scent from it. And then I want you to just bite your teeth right into that lemon. And you can open your eyes. You could feel like right away, because we've all tasted what lemon feels like right away there's like, I don't know, me, I just go like a little bit like this. Like I could feel the acidity, I could feel the citrus. And it's because you've done this so many times, you've been introduced to a lemon so many times that you've automatically associated it. And also realize this about your environment, right? This is why when you travel or you go to a new place, or even as my coach says, the reason why people, when they're going through rehab, they go to a specific facility that's removed from their environment is because a new environment allows you to think differently. It opens up your mind, it opens up your perspective. And so if your environment, for instance, right now is not inspiring for your manifestations, you want to think of really, I want to say zhuzhing it up, but I feel like no one will understand what that means. You want to think of how you can better it. Like, can you buy yourself some flowers to inspire a better association to your environment? Is there people that you talk, because in your environment is also the people in your life, the people you talk to most frequently. That's why they have this thing that I'm sure you've heard them say, is them being some ambiguous thing, but the saying that you are the average of the 5 people around you. Now, I don't know for me if that's always like, I think that that's the case, but they definitely will impact you, right? So the things you listen to will impact you, I think sometimes even more than the people potentially that you hang around with. So I say this because I know that sometimes I get a lot of you who reach out to me and say, okay, I'm in a home that I can't leave right now, or I'm in this situation at work where everyone is like this and that, and you're feeling like you're maybe a victim of that environment. But I want you to remember, you always have the power. You are the operant power. First of all, if you can leave the environment, but if you feel like you can't and there's just a lot of heavy negative association, find ways to change that association by finding different perspectives on it, and then also spending your time listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, coming here even on YouTube. There are so many creators like this channel, not to toot my own horn, but literally that will support you in raising your vibration. So notice in your life the associations that you automatically have, and challenge the ones that are keeping you stuck. Challenge the ones that, sorry, all of a sudden I'm like, is there like a booger coming out of my nose? I just totally disrupted the flow, but anyways. But challenge the ones that are keeping you feeling small. And remember, you are never a victim. I'm going to link a video below that if you're trapped in the victim mindset, I want you to go and watch this video, because it's so important for you to be empowered. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be victim of certain circumstances, certain situations, but to not make that situation your narrative for this life. Also want to point out with association, because we first talked about ice cream, that you want to create associations with things that bring you long-term joy, that are beneficial. So for instance, we talked about the ice cream. So ice cream, it's temporary joy, right? And if you tell yourself something like that, like associate ice cream with just a short-term pleasure, but it's not associated to your long-term goals, suddenly you'll be more inclined to make perhaps better choices. Because if you eat ice cream every day, well, first of all, it's going to lose that effect on you. But at the same time, it's not benefiting your long-term desires. So let's say you want to be more fit and healthy, but right now, the short term, your association to workout, it's like, oh, this is so not what I want to do, etc. How can you create a situation or an association, essentially, that will benefit you by clarifying your long-term goals, by giving yourself incentives to go to the gym, by making it perhaps more social? So really just understand that anytime you feel a yes or no, an up or down with things around you, there is an association there in your brain. And it's up to you to keep that association or to make a better new one. All right, on to number 2. So your brain is literally a record of the past. Your conscious thoughts will think of the future. You will have desires for what you want to call in, but in a factual way, your brain is literally a record of the past. That's why doing things like inner child healing, for which we have a really good meditation for free for you down below, and just understanding that when you look forward, the hesitancy you have sometimes, it's because within your brain, it's looking and scanning the past and saying, when have we done this? And then you haven't done it. But then when when you do it, you feel so confident. And like, comment below if you've ever had that experience where you do something and it's like part of you says, why was I so afraid of this? This is so much fun. This is so great. And you have a complete new understanding of it. And it's literally because you've had a new experience. So if you want to manifest something with your future self, one of the reasons why they say meditation, especially even hypnosis and visualization and scripting help, is because you are creating familiarity in your brain. You are simulating the experience of something you have not yet experienced for your brain to be like, oh, this is familiar. What's familiar to the brain feels safe, right? So get that gap also. Sometimes we have unwanted situations that are very familiar to us that we continue to repeat. Why? Because that's what our brain knows. So if you want something different, you want a better relationship, you want a better financial situation, you want things to evolve in your life, create some familiarity with that. And you want to do two things, especially when it comes to the brain. You want to strengthen your prefrontal cortex. So your prefrontal cortex is literally the part of your brain, the executive part of your brain. This is what separates us from our loved pets. It's impulse control, it's willpower, it's the ability to make clear decisions, okay? And you need that to be strong. And one of the ways you could do that, for instance, is simply through meditation. It's also by practicing the art of focus. So many of us were just like doom scrolling all day. And I've done it recently and I noticed how distracted I got. Like that habit of picking up the phone and mindlessly going through it, that is distraction. So you want to develop your prefrontal cortex by practicing the art of focus more often than not. Sometimes with some of my clients who are very stimulated, I literally tell them, sit down and do nothing for 10-15 minutes of the day. Sometimes they freak out, especially the ones who are either high performers or they're very plugged into receiving information constantly. It's just, when do you practice the art of silence? When do you practice the art of focus? When you are watching a video, yes, sometimes I will be cleaning, clearing, walking, but do you sometimes just lock in? Like lock in. Do one thing at a time from time to time. So you want to strengthen your prefrontal cortex. You also want to train your reticular activating system, so your RAS. And if you haven't heard of this, this is literally in the back end of your brain, and everything gets filtered by your reticular activating system. You want to train it to seek evidence for what you want versus constantly scanning and seeking what you know. Fact, at every given second, there are 11 million bits of information that your body receives. 11 million. Your reticular activating system is responsible for scanning, deleting, and distorting this information to match the back end of what it knows to pick up on 50 to 60 bits, because you cannot possibly process 11 million bits, you would explode. So it's like, okay, what's important? What matters to us? What are we distorting? So if you don't train and familiarize yourself with what you desire, what you want to bring into your manifest, like what you want to manifest, you will not scan and pick up on the right things. So many times you may think that almost like you know everything, and that feeling sometimes you get of being hopeless when it comes to your manifestations, that's your ego trying to tell you, oh, we already know it's not working out. When in fact, there is a plethora of data and information and wavelengths for you to pick up on. And this is science, this is factual. Like there's Mount Kilimanjaro of data. You pick up on like this much. Like it's literally nothing. So I'll give you the same advice I literally give myself. Get over yourself and put in the reps to train your reticular activating system to pick up on what you want, because I promise you it's there, and start creating an evidence bank. So let's say you are, I don't know why this example is coming to my mind, you are wanting to manifest money with more ease. So put it there that you manifest money with ease and say, I'm manifesting finding a quarter today, or I'm manifesting finding $1 today, something small that you're not so invested in. And when you manifest it, because you will, keep that evidence. Remember remember it and say, aha, this works, and build that momentum. So the third fact about your brain is that it is in many ways a goal-seeking machine. So its goal is survival, let's put it that way. But know that when you repeat things, right, your brain, like at the end of the day, repetition, everyone says for a reason, is key. If you set an intention, activate your reticular activating system and make it like a priority, right? So my clients and students, especially in the community, one woman wrote, I loved it. She's like, I'm putting Post-its everywhere. I'm putting it on my mirror. I'm going to bring, and I'm like, yes, that's what you want. You want to remind your brain of the direction you're going, because it will literally rewire and figure out, well, how do we make this possible for us? And you also create a level of psychological flexibility, because at the end of the day, if you're not challenging where you're at, then your goal is going to be by default to maintain where you are. So remember that power that you have. Your brain is a goal-seeking machine. What's your goal? What's your intention? And I also want to highlight something for you. Have a positive intention. You know, just yesterday I was with a client and he is shifting how he perceives himself in relationship. Every time I asked him a question, what is it that you want in a relationship with this aspect, this aspect, this aspect, he would promptly tell me what he doesn't want. By the way, 99% of people do this. And it's so powerful to know what you don't want, but what do you want? Because if you do not clarify your intentions in a positive way, guess what? Your brain's a goal-seeking machine. It's going to say, we don't want this, but it's like, I don't want to see a red car. I don't want to think of a purple elephant. I don't want to see a black sky. What did you just see? A black sky, a purple elephant, and a red car. Right? I want to see nature blossom. I want to see a bouquet of roses. I want to feel like I'm being held, loved, and accepted. Say it in a positive way. Okay, we're getting through. We got 2 more. Number 4, this is going to make sense based on everything that we said, especially when it comes to, everything. Everything that we said. Your brain will literally alter your reality based on your identity. And your identity literally lives within your subconscious mind, in the sense that who you believe yourself to be, it will literally see or not see opportunities for you when it comes to manifesting what you want. So if you believe that you are someone who's unlucky with love and that you attract a certain kind of person only, guess what? That's what you're going to see evidence of. That's what you're going to attract. And it's very important to challenge that identity. Whenever you use an I am statement, it's so important for it to be something empowering. And there's 3 things I want to clarify for you, because when you make this clear, it will become so much easier to do that identity work. Identity work, by the way, is something that I do often, pretty much always with my clients. So if that's something that you want to do together, the link will be below, or join our It's Possible community. It's only $22 a month and we do a lot of identity work there. So the first thing is get clear on what you value. Too often, we don't know what we value. And like, if I ask you right now, when it comes to money, what do you value? When it comes to relationships, what do you value? When it comes to your every single day life, what do you value? And get more and more specific. Get as specific as you can, because the more you clarify what you value, the more you'll realize, first of all, where in your life are you creating negative associations? What in your past is telling you that this value is not something you can attain? So you want to challenge the past. You can think differently about the past and it will change it. That's a whole other video. How can you pursue your value more? So if you value fitness and health and you realize that you go to the grocery store and you buy a bunch of processed food all the time and you never go to the gym, then it's like, okay, well, I'm not showing up for this value. Why am I choosing, or I wonder what is going on that I'm choosing to not show up for this value? Sometimes it's just because you're not clear. So get clear about what you value. Number 2, you want to define your metric of success. Sorry. Okay, I had to open the window. Hopefully the camera does not overheat. I can't believe it overheated. I don't even understand. Literally bought a new camera so it stops overheating. If anyone has been following me for over a year, you know my overheating camera was like, yeah, Like it took everything. Not everything, but I'm exaggerating. But anyways, okay. So you want to define your metric of success. And this is where like with the things with motherhood, I'm excited to bring it in because when you're a child and you say like you got this good job or you got this like a praise for when you achieved something and so you make this metric of success of like, okay, I passed school, so good, or all of these things, right, that make you define your success with climbing, let's say, a ladder. Whereas in life, like in business, for instance, the more failure you have, the better you tend to be. So someone who's not afraid of falling flat on their face, someone who's not afraid of showing up on social media, someone who's not afraid to speak their mind and fail and get criticism and all of that and try over and over and over again, they will be more successful. They have to love the process. So if I, for instance, made my metric of success with YouTube that I'm only successful if I achieve this level of views versus falling in love with the process, falling in love with showing up, falling in love with challenging myself in my expression, then it will become that much more challenging to show up. So define your metric of success. Define the thing that you will allow you to perceive and see yourself as, yes, you are on the right path of manifesting what you want. Now, camera looks like it's overheating again, so I'm gonna go fast. Okay, the third thing is that you wanna give yourself 3 to 5 goals to train your brain to go in a deliberate direction. So part of that is with the prefrontal cortex that we talked about. And another part of that is that you want to choose really bold beliefs because you want to stimulate your reticular activating system through these really bold beliefs of saying things like, I get to have the greatest love story of my lifetimes. I don't know where that came from, but that just came. And like literally believing things, choosing empowering, bold beliefs that get your reticular activating system to literally look at your environment and be like, how can I find the evidence of this? And I promise you it will happen, but it has to challenge you because if not, you're gonna stay the same. So have 3 to 5 goals. I like to pick 3 personally. I feel like after 3, things just go like too many different directions. And get clear how you value yourself, how you value these goals. Get clear on your metric of success and make it a priority for you to see your goals and to work towards them and receive them on a daily basis and to have empowering, bold beliefs that challenge how you see the current reality. Now, number 5, and this is arguably probably one of the more tech stuff things that you need to know about your brain, but it has a natural negativity bias, right? Like this is facts, and it's made in a way because having a negativity bias, it helps you detect threats. Like you will detect threats fast. It activates this part of your brain called the amygdala. This is why somatic work or things like tapping, which by the way, again, we have in the community, it really helps soothe your nervous system. It helps calm you down, and why it's so important to know about this because, for example, again, here on YouTube, this is such an easy example to use, but you can literally use this in everything, like in the dating world, putting yourself out there. When you put yourself out there or in business, you try a new adventure, the thought of being rejected, criticized, failing publicly, all of these things on a tribal level back in the day, which your brain is still operating on that level, it could equal to you being a social outcast. It could equal to you being like the death, literally, right? But that's all it takes right now to be successful. So when your brain, you notice, like when I see a negative comment, sometimes I notice that my brain goes towards it and gives it so much more attention than like the 30 positive comments. And I have to catch myself because in those moments, I've gone into this part of the brain, which I don't want to go too deep on, called the default mode network, which is a really important part of the brain. We should talk about it at some point. But I go into that place where I'm like repeating different things that I'm gonna say, and this is to bring a sensation of I'm in control. So if I imagine the different things I could respond in the back and forth, then I'm more in control, right? And we've all had this, okay? Like I'm not the only one. Like let me know in the comments below. You have an argument with someone, like have you ever just had a conversation with them in your head while they're not even there? That's you going in your default mode network. That's you trying to find a way to have control what comes with this perceived negativity. But this is the thing, you got to catch yourself. Remind yourself, what is it that we want? What's the direction of this going? I don't know where I got cut off, but I think we were like, the last little thing I wanted to say is, if you find yourself creating these mental stimulations, like going into that default mode network, there's two things I really want you to pay attention to. Number one is your ego is being challenged. So perhaps there's something in your identity that needs to shift, where it's picking up on this thing that is triggering you. So look within. All triggers are blessings, in the sense that they will show you where you are hiding and what you could upgrade. And then sometimes it could just be that you had a bad day and you read something, or someone said something to you at the wrong time, like you're tired, you're hungry, you're hangry, whatever it is. So just be kind to yourself, but know that it's a false illusion when you're going down these negative spirals, and say, okay, this is my negativity bias also picking up on this, or my overstimulated amygdala. Let me put my phone down, or let me take a pause from this conversation, a pause from these thoughts. Let me do some breath work, some EFT tapping, and let my nervous system, let your nervous system relax, your amygdala relax, and then come back with a more positive perspective. Maybe talk to a friend that you trust, right? And with that said, I hope these 5 tips really helped you, beautiful soul. I hope that it inspired you to think differently when it comes to your desired manifestations, and to bring you just that much closer to manifesting what you want. And until next video, I'm sending you so much love.